For those of you who don't know the Lakes Stewards of Maine, we're formerly known as the Maine Volunteer Lake Monitoring Program, and we've been around not quite as long as Maine Lake Society, but 1 year later, and we have worked very closely ever since 1971. The mission of the Lake Stewards of Maine basically is to protect our lakes through a unique way, and that is through engaging the public in the task of keeping a watchful eye on our lakes. So, as was mentioned in the earlier talks, we have a lot of lakes here in Maine. We're water rich, too much water for any agency, any entity to keep an eye on. So it was understood early on that if we were going to really keep a close eye on our lakes, that we would have to engage a bigger cadre of people, a larger cadre of people, and people have stepped up to that task, and we're really pleased to be working with such dedicated volunteers. So we are the oldest and one of the largest statewide lake monitoring programs in the United States. We provide training and technical support for thousands of volunteer citizen scientists statewide. We now have more than 1,200 what we call our certified citizen lake scientists, people who have made a special commitment. They agree to use our quality assurance protocols and so on. Anyone can do this work, but to be certified, you have to make a more formal commitment, and you have to stay current with that commitment. And we have volunteers now on more than 500 lakes across Maine. We're by far, geographically speaking, the primary collector of statewide lake data. I'm from the Lake Stewards of Maine, and I'm here today to present to you on a project that we're all really excited about, and it's our new app called the Maine Field Guide to Aquatic Phenomena. I wanted to start by just looking at that word phenomena, the plural of phenomenon, and I don't know if any of you get this reference that in that picture there. Raise your hand if you get the reference. Good. The song, you got that? Okay, all right. So I was afraid I'd have to sing it, but these Muppets sing a really cool little song that sounds like phenomena. Da, 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 da. You got it? Da, 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 da. Okay. Anyway, going on, it really is a word that originated in the Greek and Latin for appearance, and I like starting here because it talks about the two definitions of the word that are distinct but also interrelated, and we're hoping to build both of these into our app. And one is that we're covering facts, things that occur in lakes. We're providing scientific information of observed and observable phenomena, but also the other meaning of the word, something that is impressive, extraordinary, a wonder. We're hoping that this app will help people to explore and understand and learn more about the true wonders that are present in our lakes. So again, even the synonyms bring out both of these meanings: an event, an incident, a marvel, a miracle. And the project started actually here at the University of Maine in Orono, at the Mitchell Center. They had a group that got together and basically collected all of the questions that professionals and academics were getting regarding lakes. So what is that? What do the different colors mean in the water? What is that thing floating on the water's surface? What's that stuff underneath the water? And they collected all of those questions, and then they created their field guide to aquatic phenomena. It's a multi-page pamphlet that they then distributed in paper form and on the website. And so we took that as our basic idea. Something the app can capture these the questions and provide answers for people when they're out on the water. We have to thank the folks that have supported this project. The Maine Outdoor Heritage Fund. I think we must have the record for having the most extensions on our reporting back, because we haven't finished, we don't have the app out yet. So for multiple years, they've been long-suffering, waiting for their final report. but they're very, very good to us. So they gave us our original seed funding, Maine Department of Environmental Protection, the Onion Foundation, and then contributions from individuals, lake associations, and a lot of in-kind support. We also have to thank our app development team. We're basically the folks that are creating the content, but we are not the technical people who know how to build an app. And we have worked really successfully with this group, also out of the University of Maine system. And they basically are students and working with a faculty member who do all aspects of the app design. So they write the proposals, they do the design, they implement the design, they help with the testing, the deployment, and so on. So it's a wonderful learning experience for the students. It gives them some real life experience in running such a business, and it's wonderful for us because they do it at a very, very reasonable price. And we actually have John Donnelly here today from the ASAP Media Services to help answer questions toward the end of the talk. The project began in 2013, and it has been a series of very energetic, very enthusiastic, high activity periods, punctuated by long moments of doing absolutely nothing. And basically that has been two factors. One is that we have not always had the funding needed to get to the next level. Creating an app is a much more expensive proposition than we understood when we started. And the second thing is that we're a pretty small staff, and often there's just no one on staff who has the time to move the project forward. So it has been, if this app project were a tree, and we were to cut the tree and look at the growth circles, you could certainly see that there were moments of plentiful rainfall and a lot of drought time as well. But we really have stayed very consistent to the project in our belief that it has enormous potential. And now, thankfully, this year we were able to bring on a staff person who we could actually task with being the project manager, keeping all of the communication going, making sure the deadlines were hit, and that is Spencer Harriman. He's also here with us today. And thanks to Spencer's management, we are now at the point where we're just about ready to launch a formal app. It will be available on both the Google Play and App Store by the end of July, in time for our official launch at our annual conference, which is in Saturday. This is a shameless plug for our conference, Saturday, July 27th at the Great Outdoors in Turner. So version 1.0, which is what will be available on the 27th, has an initial focus. There's a lot of phenomena out there on lakes, so we haven't captured them all in the app yet, but we're going to focus on some of the more common phenomena as well as threats to lakes, so that we can actually use it also as a way that people can identify threats as early as possible so that something can be done about them. There will be two ways to search the app content. One will be through a series of simple decision trees, very simple decision trees. You don't need to be a scientist at all to use this app, or just go into the category of concern or of interest, and then just start browsing through the photos and find what you're looking for there, and then you can drill down into the information. And we're going to, there's the three main categories of phenomena will be fauna, flora, and other aquatic phenomena, and then there'll be a quick link to all of the aquatic invaders that we have in the app.
Those are both flora and fauna invaders?
No, well, no, not just invaders. Just all kinds of flora and fauna. You'll see soon.
No,
okay?
I mean the invaders.
Oh, yeah, invaders will be flora and fauna. They'll all be in there. So it'll just be a quick way to go in. Once you go into other invaders, and you can subgroup into flora and fauna and go on from there. So this is basically, we have, and I will be showing you soon, we have the app loaded on both an iPhone and an Android. This is an older beta version of the app, and it became so old in one of those lulls that they had to completely rebuild it in a new language, or with the upgraded language. So that was a project in itself. So there was some backpedaling there at one point. But this is, I'm going to show you on screen just some screenshots, and then we'll actually walk through the app in a little bit. But basically, each phenomena will include the descriptive and natural history information on that phenomena, and it will be an expandable catalog of both phenomena and images. And the cool thing is that the images, if you have a touch screen phone, can easily be zoomed in on. We're using really high quality, high definition images, so it's as good as using a microscope in many cases. So just to walk you through some of the phenomena that are included in the app, we'll have amphibians. And so we'll have all manner of frogs that you would find here in Maine, from green frogs, northern leopard frogs, spring peeper wood frogs, and salamanders that you'd find here in Maine as well. And again, each one of those will have what we just described in terms of both narrative information as well as this library of photos. Crustaceans, crayfish, and other forms of crustaceans. So we have both native and invasive species there. Fish, we don't have all the fish in Maine yet, but we decided, we actually worked with the inland fisheries and wildlife fisheries biologists to come up with a list of most of our common fish and some of our invasive fish that they thought would be the highest priorities to get on the app initially. We have a few of the minnows, but mostly the larger fish, and that's separated into cold water or warm water fish. But again, you'll be able to search by picture, so if you don't know whether the fish is a warm water or cold water fish. And you can see that the photography is really great. We have some wonderful photographers who are contributing to the app. These three on the left, and actually the one in the middle top, were all done by a photographer who's a really great invasive plant patroller. His name is Dennis Roberta, and he spent summers and summers and summers taking pictures of life underneath the water surface, and we have thousands of his photos to choose from. So we'll have some really nice imagery. Insects as well, and if it's an insect that metamorphoses from a larval stage, aquatic larval stage, into an aerial form, we'll have pictures of that critter in both forms, like the black flies that you see on the left middle is the black fly larva, and then you all know what the black fly looks like once he gets out and starts drinking your blood. Mollusks will be in here. We, of course, have some invasive mollusks that we're concerned about. We have one that's here already, which is the Chinese mystery snail, middle bottom there. Those big snails that are about the size of a walnut. Those are invasive snails, and the more that we look for them, the more that we find them. So again, we see this app as a great tool for people to help us with our early detection efforts. But a lot of also our native snails will be, and mollusks will be in there as well. Turtles, again, a lot of Dennis's great photography. Anyone know what the lower left turtle is? Lower right for you guys.
Musk.
What did you say?
It's green. Looks like a painted turtle with algae on it.
Yeah,
Maybe just
musk turtle, good for you. Did somebody say musk turtle? Yeah, excellent, Mary. Yep, so that is a pretty unknown turtle to most people in Maine because it's pretty rare.
Saw one under our dock.
You have one under your dock?
We did a few years ago.
Yeah, that's really cool. So when I actually had no idea. So again, I send out pictures that come into us so I sent this to the state herpetologist, and they were really interested in where Dennis had seen that turtle. Dennis didn't know what kind it was, but that is a musk turtle. And so we'll have the Maine turtles as well. And then this catch-all category of other aquatic phenomena where they don't fit neatly in any of those other categories. Even the black water snake, since that's the only one, is in there. And egg masses, freshwater jellyfish, bryozoans, etc. Leeches, which I don't have a picture up there, but leeches. And then we have another category, which is other lake phenomena. And this is broken down through water, the color of water. So those are the various colors of water. And the app will teach about what each of those colors mean and how the color forms in lakes and all kinds of information about why is the lake blue. And on the surface of the water, lines that form foam or debris, clumps of foam, oily sheen, yellowish powder. All of these are kind of the questions that were in that original field guide done by the University of Maine. And then other curiosities like lake balls. Has anyone ever seen a lake ball? So yeah, they're not 6 feet tall like that photo seems to indicate. They're only about, this big. But they are formed, they're perfectly spherical, and they're formed by the lakes themselves, by the rolling action of the water lapping on the shore. This is just debris. So really amazing. The wonders of the phenomena that are in here. And so now that we're on flora, this is the kind of one of the more complex sections of the app. So I'm going to end the show temporarily and take you, oops, my news is up there, sorry. What is Trump doing now? Okay, so actually I want to go back, step back. So, I'm going to go back one, further. So this is the app. This is the Apple version, and again, this is kind of an old version. There's going to be a new color scheme. Our name has changed, Lakes Stewards of Maine. All of that has changed, but I thought it had at least enough here. The Apple version still has some funky kind of things that are going on, and the Android version, those things have already been corrected. So we will send this around when we get to the question answer phase, and you can take a look at it on the Android as well. But so you just get into the title page, Explore Aquatic Phenomena, and then you have, oops, sorry, I didn't mean to. So you have the fauna, flora, or other curiosities. So let's go into the flora. Once you get into flora, you can choose algae, vascular aquatic plants, or wetland plants. So I'll just do a quick breeze through algae. We're not getting into the identification of each algal form at this point, though that certainly could come. But we're just, these again, answering kind of the common questions that people have when they go on the lake. So we've put algae into 3 basic categories. Algae that color the water, make it like paint, filled water. Branching algae that resemble higher plants. Cotton candy or cloud-like algae. Filamentous mat-forming algae. And then you can drill down through any of those. But I really want to show you the vascular aquatic plants. So we've used the same categorization system that we have used in our field guide and in our quick key, so that's very consistent across the board. We break plants down into 4 main groups: floating leaved plants, plants with blade-shaped leaves on stems, plants with finely divided leaves on stems, and you can see one of the problems with this is that there's a registration problem. That's all been sorted out in the Android and will be sorted out in the final. And then there's going to be the everything else category, which hasn't made it into this form but is in the Android form. So we'll have those. And then, so let's go into plants. Well, you guys decide. Where do you want to go? Somebody? Anybody?
Plants with blades.
Blades it is. Okay, so we've got fine, slender leaves, not arranged in whorls. Leaves arranged in whorls, and a whorl is just 3 or more leaves arranged in a radiating pattern around the stem, like spokes on a wheel, and then wider, alternately arranged leaves. And so let's go into whorls. So then we've got some choices: slender waterweed, Brazilian elodea, and again, these will be in alphabetical order. This is not correct. If the plant is a native plant, it will have a green bar. If the plant is an invasive plant, it will have a red bar. The red will be pop a little more than that. And then we've got mare's tail, which kind of fits in its own category. Hydrilla, common waterweed. So those are the plants that you might encounter in Maine that have these blade-shaped leaves arranged on the stems in a whorl. And then if you go to something like slender waterweed, we've only got 3 pictures here so far, but you could look at the pictures. If you want to look more closely to how they're arranged on the stem, you should be able to really zoom in and see the finer detail. And then we're going to go over to the next photo. Hang on, I'm not there yet. Oh, I guess I have to. So here's another picture of slender waterweed, more in situ, and then another look at it. So we'll go back out and do one more. I want to go in the, I love these. This is, again, Dennis's work. I want to show you some of his beautiful pictures of bladderworts. They're just, anyway, in there we have feather divided leaves. So now it breaks it down a little further. Feather divided leaves would be where all the milfoils are. We've got parrot feather, then we have our native milfoils. Eurasian milfoil is in there. We have our some more natives. There's variable milfoil. That's a pretty nice shot of variable milfoil. And again, like each one of them will have, variable milfoil has a lot of pictures right now. Okay, and so there's that. And then I want to get down to the bladderworts. We've got, here's if they have fork or branch divided leaves, that's where you'd find the bladderworts. Got coontail, northern bladderwort, floating bladderwort, whitewater crowfoot, that one purple. I think the one I like is this in common. So again, we've got lots of pictures of bladderworts. I think that's really pretty nice. You can see the bladders really well. One thing I'm noticing is that what you're seeing is really blurry compared to what I'm seeing. So the image on the app is a lot better than you're getting here on screen. Also, the colors are much more vibrant. So I do encourage you. So those are the bladderwort flowers there. And I guess maybe it was large purple. I like this one. It's a ball of bladderwort. Anyway, so that kind of shows you how that's going to work. And again, we will send around the Android. Okay, good, thank you. Where was I? Phenomena. Are we there? Yeah, okay, so this is the administrative dashboard. This has been a really big project, part of the project more recently. So initially, ASAP helped us create the app, but we wanted to be able to expand it ourselves. We didn't want to have to go back to an app developer every time we wanted to add something. So they've been really working hard to make a very, very user-friendly, you don't have to be very technical to use it, administrative dashboard. And John has been really involved in this. And so we'll be able to look at the whole catalog, sort the catalog by whatever it is we're working with, flora, fauna, or other. And we'll be able to easily add new material, drop and drag into adding an image, or we might want to move something from one category to another, or create a brand new entry, propose a new category. We'll have different levels of users. So the basic level of user will be anybody who has the app will be able to go and do an online form to become an official user. Once you're a user, you can submit, and you have to be Maine-based to be a user. We're limiting that aspect to Maine only because we don't want pictures of plants from who knows where. And so because you can get feedback. So you can submit photographs, and we'll have information on how to submit a good quality photograph that we can read easily. There'll be information on hanging on to the specimen that you're sending in, just in case we need to see it in person, and so on. You'll get that kind of direction. And then you can submit this plant photograph and say, is this milfoil? Is this something I should be concerned about? And we'll get back to you within 72 hours, and we'll let you know whether you need to send us in the plant or whether it's something you don't need to worry about. So that's that job you can have as a user, but you could also submit photographs. You don't have this picture of a brook trout, and I would like to submit this picture. So you can help add to the content. And so then that will go to a moderator who will vet it, and if we need to send it out to for peer review, we'll send it out for peer review, and then it will go up on the queue to be added. And then the final administrator will take a look at it and approve it, and it will be on the app. And then next time you get into contact with an internet connection, that you'll see your content uploaded to the app. It will upload automatically every time you have an internet connection. If you're don't have an internet connection, the last catalog that you had on your phone will be present for you, so you don't have to be online to have the full catalog. And these are just I won't be able to have time to go into all of these, but you can see we'll be able to very easily create new entries, all the images we want, all of the narrative part that goes along with that particular species. And so these are some of the things that are coming up next. We are going to just keep adding phenomena. So we'll have a basic catalog when we go live, and we're just going to keep adding to that, including we have an herbarium project that's going on. Keith Williams is in the back there somewhere. I thought I saw Keith, but maybe there he is. He's helping with our herbarium project, and our herbarium project focuses exclusively on plants that you would see in and around the shores of lakes. So it's really unique. There's nothing like it in Maine, and maybe not in New England, we're not sure. Beautifully done herbarium sheets, and Keith has been in charge of scanning them as well. So all of those scans will go in, and again, they'll be, you can zoom right in on them and see really important aspects of the plant. And then we'll have a web-based version, so it all has to be rebuilt to work on a computer platform. And then again, as I said, the submission function won't come until we get to this next phase, which ASAP people have already built in the back end for that to happen. So it should be able to go live pretty soon after we kick off the 1.0. And other things that we've kind of got on our radar, but we're not sure exactly when they'll happen. Somebody suggested digital flashcards, where you can just bring up a picture and then say, I think this is that, and it will flip over and tell you whether you got it right. So it'd be a really nice learning tool, especially for people who are learning their plants. And then also be able to capture not only your own photos of phenomena on your lake that you've shared with us, but you can basically create a journal of your favorite phenomena on your lake. But this is the most important, this is the thing that we're most excited about, is this aspect that people can submit stuff. So you could submit photos of stuff that we already have on the app, or you can notice we don't have any birds on the app. We think we should have birds on this app. And so we can get ducks and eagles and loons and start collecting pictures of those as well. It's an endlessly expandable, crowdsourced tool, and we very, very much hope that you will all participate in it and pay attention once we launch it, and you will really have a phenomenally good time making this app. Oops, I'm done.